Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I am here with my co host, Josh Richter. It is week two. It is the week two news and injuries update. We've got some news for you. We've got some injuries, a lot of injuries, surprisingly, for week two. So we'll just go ahead and get right into this. Actually, before we do, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media pages: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Last Place FP. We post all of our updates there when it comes to us, posting our YouTube channel, our content, all of that. So check us out there. Josh, on the news end of this, what do you got for us?
There is really only one piece of news that I found very interesting.
Okay.
I know we talked about, I believe, in our week one review, mentioning the Rams O line and kind of their situation there. Well, they did
Yeah.
sign at least one person for reinforcements. They did sign Ode Abushi on Wednesday, which I find to be very sneaky, but also very telling that what we're seeing on the broadcast is what the Rams are seeing on the field as well. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I do feel a bit better about Darrell Henderson and Cooper Cup, at least just for a little bit until we get to get have a bigger
Mhm.
sample size of the Rams offense.
Yeah, that week one, I kind of scratched that to off to being, like rust. They were shaking off the rust, and honestly, they were going up against a pretty stout defense.
Yeah,
So
very stout.
I understand, them having a lot of troubles. So it's good that they're shoring up kind of what we saw as being leaks in their O line. So I'm glad that they're making steps to do that in this signing. It's a good it's a good thing to see, coming into week two. Because I know a lot of people were kind of hitting the panic button on on this offense.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure. And
seeing them do
personally,
this
I was one of
is
them too.
a, a good sign. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people were sensing, imminent destruction with this or imminent implosion with this offense. So with them bringing in this guy, I think it's good. It's a good sign. So that's what else we have for news. Anything else?
Honestly, I think the biggest news has to deal with injuries. So I say let's go over to injuries. So
Okay, let's just jump right into injuries. The first team that I've got, Arizona Cardinals. Rondale Moore again ruled
again,
out early in the week. So this wasn't a
that's not good
yeah,
with
it's
how
not good.
early it was.
Yeah, because he was ruled out pretty early on, like Monday or Tuesday, I believe, and that's not a very good thing for
Yeah,
for them.
that's not a good thing at all. That also means
Yeah.
that whatever happened to Rondale Moore
Hmm.
is like it's not getting better, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, and it's a hamstring. It's a hamstring injury,
Yeah,
so
that's ugh.
those linger a lot. But it's not good that he's not just week to week. He's ruled out
Yeah, he
like
was.
pretty early in the. So.
So this is where I think Dortch is becoming a more needed fantasy option,
Hmm.
especially for a Rondale Moore owner.
Yep.
So I think he's definitely going to be the top option to get. I would personally, if you had Dortch and Ertz on the
Yeah.
same like on waivers, I'd go for Dortch than Ertz personally.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Ertz, he practiced Thursday and Friday. I don't. He was a full participant. I don't see him missing this week, especially with
Yeah,
his performance last week, and missing Rondale Moore. I think they're gonna just put him in. He
yeah.
should be good to go. He's still listed as questionable,
If he's a full
but I
participant
think he should be fine.
if he's a full participant on Friday, then I would expect his snap count to just go way up, and I don't think there would
Yeah,
be a snap
yeah,
count.
yeah. I don't think so either. I think he's fine. He should be good to go on Sunday. That's all I've got for the Cardinals. Um,
I mean, yeah, that's
we've
about it.
moving
It's
on
just Rondale
to
Moore.
yeah, yeah. It's really just Rondale Moore and then an update on Zach Ertz. So let's move on to the Falcons. Not necessarily fantasy relevant, but I wanted to point it out. Damian Williams has been officially ruled out with a rib injury. Didn't practice at all this week. They're saying that his ribs are just sore. He may be out longer. We can get into the longevity of the injury next week when we get more information. But for now, he's out this week.
Which probably means it's Algier in that role.
I
I'm
was gonna
assuming.
say, yeah, Algier. We're obviously gonna see a lot of Cordero Patterson with some Algier sprinkled in there. I
Would
think
you start?
so.
Would you ever put Algier in your lineup, or do you need one game to see what's going on?
Um, I'm kind of gun shy with these rookies after seeing Damian Pierce just fall flat on his face week one. So I'd say hold off, stash him for this week. Cordero Patterson is an obvious lock. In deeper leagues, if you're desperate and you want,
Desperate, desperate.
yeah, if you're desperate, you can put him in a flex spot, but it's very risky. It's high
Yeah.
risk because I see Cordero Patterson taking a majority of the snaps. So that's all I've got for Falcons. Baltimore. J.K. Dobbins has been given he's been practicing all week. He's been given a questionable tag. He's kind of gone in and out all week. So he was listed as fine, like on Monday or Tuesday, and then yesterday he was again listed as questionable because he was back on
I think it could just be some injury report mind games, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big thing with just how the Ravens. I mean, here's what I'll say. The best indicator for future behavior is past behavior. And so what they've done with like Ronnie Stanley, Marcus Peters, and a couple other like players has just been a slow ramp up to get into to basically get game ready. He won't if he plays. I don't expect him to do much this week, largely because I think he'll be on a snap count.
Yeah, he'll probably be on a snap count. He'll be there with Kenyon Drake.
But
Probably.
he might either be like if someone just may have had to drop him due to injuries in week one. So I would check your waivers. Also,
he may be available.
I buy low right now. Also,
definitely, I expect a lot of good things from him this season. He's very explosive his first year, and then last year he kind of took a dip. With the ACL injury, he was out all year. So I'm expecting good things from him. I hope we get to see him on the field soon.
Yeah,
because
same here.
I invested a good pick in him. So
yeah,
that's all I've got for Baltimore. Chicago Bears, I've only got one. Velus Jones, he's doubtful. He did practice on Friday, but I think it was limited participation. So
either way, like your options.
He's not really.
Yeah, for Chicago,
he's not really fantasy relevant.
Fields, Monty, Komet, Mooney.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that fantasy relevant, but in deeper leagues, you could get him back next week.
Yeah.
This one definitely is fantasy relevant. Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins was out with a concussion middle of the game last week. Concussion protocol, it's generally 2 weeks, but right after the game, they did run some tests, and it was, according to the head coach, encouraging. So I do expect him. I expect him to miss this game, but he's still listed as questionable. He had a full participation in practice on Friday. He'll probably be a game time decision.
Yeah, I believe I'll have to double check, but I believe he may have been either a limited participant or at least cleared the protocol. So that's good.
He was full participant on Friday.
If he's full participant on Friday, then most likely he will be playing.
Yeah. Well, so it's a sensitive injury. They have a lot of protocols when
Yeah,
it comes to concussions. This is an injury that's like
yeah. You
it's almost political. Like they want to
it
make sure that they
he's a
don't get into trouble for bringing him in too early.
It's also
So
well, I mean, it's also like to give some football history. That was the issue of Austin
yeah,
Collie, so that
mhm,
that is something where that should be mentioned.
yeah,
Also, they're playing Dallas, so if he doesn't play, then you can tell Cincinnati's
yeah,
confidence.
yeah. Well, and yeah, we'll get into that next. Tight end Hayden Hurst. He was a full participant in practice. He should be
Yep,
ready to go.
should be ready to go.
Um, yeah, he should be ready to go. Going on to Dallas. Dak Prescott obviously out.
Alrighty, yeah, this is the big one.
Um, yeah, obviously out, but not on IR. So the timeline is 6 to 8 weeks.
So
So
I
they didn't want to put him on. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
so this is where if you're a Dak fantasy owner, like I am as well,
Hmm.
I would caution and kind of use use Russell Wilson's injury last year kind of as your template. Just
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
yes, he came back in record time, but was he really back in record time? Not really. It took him about
Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks to get back into the swing of things. With
Yep.
Dak, it's a fractured thumb. I expect it basically to go almost the same exact way. He could be
Yep.
playing, but he may not be fully there yet. So that's something where when
Yeah.
you're dealing with trades, you're probably seeing a lot of people panic shop CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, and Pollard. I
Yeah.
just take that into account. Unless you're getting just like a stupid good deal for it, I probably wouldn't take it, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
The I would say the only person I say of relevance that could stay to the level where he's at would be Zeke,
Or maybe Dalton,
possibly Dalton Schultz.
because
Yes,
Dalton was leaned on heavily in the last half of that game. So,
yeah,
um, I mean, he put up a tight end five performance, which is pretty good. I would not hit the panic button on CD yet. I'd be aware of what's going
yeah.
on with him. He may get the work, uh, but I don't know for sure. Um, yeah, when it comes to the timeline, it is 6 to 8 weeks, but Jerry Jones, if I know him, he's going to push Dak to be out earlier. And in fact, he made a press statement saying that he'll only be out for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
So,
like literally, it's just play it just play it by
yeah,
ear. Honestly,
yeah.
um, the
And
the big thing though, and you have to understand Dallas's kind of urgency on this matter is that
yep,
they know they have a good team, and
yep,
depending on how long that could be out, it could this could be an injury whether the season's over right now. So I
yeah,
know they're wanting
for
the
sure.
urgency to get things going. So definitely just monitor anything coming out of Dallas. Any beat reporters saying anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for any notifications or updates. Um, when it comes to that QB position in Dallas, Cooper Rush is probably going to be taking over the
Yeah,
offense. Not very fantasy relevant. Don't pick him up unless you're in a very deep QB. What is it? 2 QB
yeah.
league
I
or
would say
super flex
maybe
league.
if you're two QB, but
Yeah,
even then, that's a stretch.
even it's a stretch. Yeah. Um, also, two wide receivers are out. Michael Gallup
Yep.
and James
Washington.
Washington. Michael Gallup is week to week, so he could be back next week. He has been ruled out this week, though. And James Washington is on IR for at least another 2 weeks with a broken foot. So we
Yeah.
could see either one of them coming back in 2 weeks.
E- yeah. Even then, I mean, Gallup will be a nice like help for CD, but
Yeah.
it's still going to be CD and Jalen Tolbert for the moment.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, okay. So the Denver Broncos, KJ Hamler is the only one I have here. He has knee and hip issues right now, officially out for week 2. There's no real timeline for him. He's
Yeah.
considered week to week. Not super fantasy relevant, but if
Not really, but at this point,
yeah,
if you took a late round shot on Hamler, I
hmm
think you could drop him. He hasn't really
yeah,
been fantasy relevant in his career like at all,
yeah.
unfortunately, and
Mm.
it's
Well,
just
well, because he's been sitting behind people. Yeah,
yes. Well, sitting behind and injured, like this
yeah,
is this is a yearly occurrence with Hamler.
hmm
So I would just cut
for
bait
sure.
right now, pick up another spot.
hmm Okay, so that's all I got for the Broncos. Detroit Lions. This is a big one.
Yep.
DeAndre Swift, ankle injury sometime this week. Um, out, out of practice all week till Friday when he had a limited practice.
So
There's a
that's
lot of positivity. There's a lot of positivity coming from the Lions organization. I don't see him missing this week.
no.
I
If
think
you
they might rest. I think they did this to like give him some rest this week, but he's a game time decision.
yeah.
So
So
keep an eye out for
the fact that
notifications
he was
Sunday morning.
the fact that he was a limited participant on Friday gives me good hope that he'll be playing.
Yeah.
I do believe the Lions may have signed a running back to the practice squad. That I would have to double check that. I know the Saints
I
did, but
don't know.
but they may have signed someone in preparation. But that's considering
I mean,
Swift's
they're probably
injury
going to ride
history.
Jamal
Yeah,
Williams if anything
yeah. If
happens.
anything, I would expect more of a 50-50 split. But
Yeah.
Swift is still a must start if he's playing.
Yeah. Well, and who is his backup? Chris something? Oh shoot,
Oh,
I
I
got to
know
pull it up.
exactly who it is.
Yeah, I know. I stashed him like last
Oh,
last year
last year. I
for
don't
the
know if he's on
last
the team
couple of
anymore. Are you thinking of Craig Reynolds?
Yeah, he is.
He's still on the. Yes, let's go, Craig.
Yeah, because he was a star when he
Yeah, when
got
he
some
got the
time to
opportunity. Yeah,
play.
when he got the opportunity, he was good. But I mean, if Swift
Yeah, he's
plays, you
still
play Swift.
yeah. Oh yeah, if Swift plays, play Swift. I would see like a split between Jamal Williams and Craig Reynolds if he does miss time,
Yeah.
but I don't see him missing time.
No, I
I
don't
don't.
see
I
him
honestly
missing
don't.
time
I think
either.
he's going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's all I have there. He's a game time decision. Just keep your eye out for notifications. 90 minutes before the game on Sunday, they'll make an announcement on who's in or who's
Yeah.
out. So just keep that in mind. Moving on to Green Bay Packers wide receiver Alan Lazard, ankle, limited in practice all week. So he hasn't had a full participation all week. Um, with what happened last week against the Vikings,
He might play.
I'd say more than likely he'd be back.
Yeah.
like,
So I would say
I think Aaron Rodgers is hitting the panic button and going, I need my wide receiver back.
Yeah.
I need my wide receiver.
So this is where
So
it's a big thing to see. If he's a full participant on Saturday, then he's guaranteed
yeah,
playing because usually Saturday is a walkthrough, so you're wearing basically nothing. And if you can't practice for a
yeah,
walkthrough, you're probably not playing. But I
yeah,
think
exactly.
Lazard's playing. I would like to add two more people to this list. Elton
Yeah, go ahead.
Jenkins and David Bakhtiari. They're literally Green Bay's starting tackles are both listed as questionable
Yeah,
as well. I would say double check on those because they have a huge impact on how the Packers
they
offense
were
does
they were
week to
sorely
week.
missed last week.
Very missed.
Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to those two
Yeah, not like you were sad
and
about it.
Alan Lazard, I wasn't upset. I was elated. I loved it. I loved seeing Rodgers be put in his place. It was nice. So, as you can tell, I'm a Vikings fan. So, um, yeah. So that's the Green Bay Packers. Just again, keep an eye out Sunday morning
Yep.
for notifications on their status. Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, this is a scary
These
one.
are two. This is a scary one. I've got two here
Okay.
actually. First one I'll talk about is Alec Pierce. He was ruled out this week. More than likely be back next week. Again, concussion
Yeah.
protocol. He was officially ruled out this week, but it's generally about 2 weeks, depending on the severity of it. We'll keep you updated next week if he's still on the IR or not IR. If he's still on the injured list next week, be concerned. But I think he clears after this week.
Yeah.
Um, okay, and Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
This is
So
the big one.
this
Michael
happened.
Pittman was limited. Go ahead.
I was about to say. So I believe he was a DNP Thursday, but limited practice Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Apparently, this injury, I believe, it's a quad. It happened
It
during during this
yeah
week in practice. So that's something to be aware of. Now, if he's playing, I play him. But especially since Alec Pierce is gone, I think Naeem Hines
yeah
becomes a much more enticing option as a
yeah.
flex.
Paris Campbell and Naeem Hines are streaming candidates this week if Alec Pierce and Pittman are out.
Yeah.
So what happened this week? He was limited on Wednesday and didn't practice at all on Thursday and Friday. So he's listed as questionable.
Yeah, so definitely
But
check the injury report
yeah,
for Saturday.
yeah, check the injury report for Saturday. If he's limited participation, there's a decent chance, but I'm not super confident because he missed Thursday and Friday completely. It's concerning because he's their number one wide receiver. So obviously, if him and Alec Pierce are out, that's a yikes.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, like I said, Paris Campbell, Naheem Hines, streaming candidates for this week.
for sure.
You might want to stash them and or play them in a flex position because I think Matt Ryan's going to be leaning on them a lot.
Yeah,
And also, JT obviously on that offense, you always put
yeah,
JT.
exactly.
So that's all I've got for Indianapolis. LA Rams. Two not necessarily fantasy relevant players. Van Jefferson is
Out.
out.
Yep.
Allen Robinson will definitely take over those targets. So that's a big bump for him. Um, so and then our running back Kyron Williams, he's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Isn't
Okay.
necessarily relevant in that offense now, but if any injuries happen over the next couple of weeks, he could be fantasy relevant.
Well, I would also say
Especially
if there's a.
with those. Go ahead.
I was going to say if there's another injury at the running back position, expect the Rams to make a move at the running back position.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which kind of limits Akers and Darrell Henderson, but that's something that just to be wary of.
yeah.
With Van Jefferson, that probably means Ben Skoranek becomes wide receiver 3.
Hmm.
So if you're in a desperation spot, Skoranek did not seem like a bad option yesterday. I mean, yeah, not
Yeah,
yesterday, last week.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, just keep an eye out for those two. Miami, it's just Salvon Ahmed. He was limited all week this week, listed as questionable. He's not really fantasy relevant.
Well,
New England. Oh, go
can I
ahead.
add to
Go
Miami
ahead.
real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Check the Ravens injury report right now. I'm seeing that both Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stevens were DMPs on Friday, which does not bode well. And if you are losing corners right before you play Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, be ready.
Yeah. So okay, so keep an eye out for. Well, I mean, yeah, keep an eye out for those cornerback positions,
Yep.
and if they're out, then they are locks for this
Yep.
week. Waddle and
Absolutely.
Tyreek, they are locks for this week. So moving on to New England, the Patriots. Mac Jones struggled last week because of back spasms. He was having issues with his back. For Thursday's practice, he was tagged with an illness that came off the report on Friday. So He should be fine.
Yeah,
He should be good to go, but it's still listed as questionable.
yeah,
So
should be fine. But either way, you're still probably only starting the running backs for
yeah,
fantasy relevance
well, even then, they're they're worth like a deep flex
consideration.
consideration
Yeah,
because
until we see
yeah,
something else.
until one of them gets injured or one of them becomes favored. I'm
Yeah,
hoping Ramondre. So
please, I have Ramondre in another league.
um,
Please let it be
yeah,
Ramondre.
yeah, I drafted him thinking that he's going to get a lot more work, and he didn't. But that's an issue for another podcast. Um, New Orleans. This is a big one,
Yeah,
very big one,
not getting talked about a lot, but this is very
not
big.
getting talked about. So both Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram are listed as questionable.
And
Alvin Kamara did practice on Thursday. Sorry,
no,
didn't
he
practice on
didn't
Thursday or
practice.
Friday.
Yeah, that's the scary part. He
Yeah,
didn't practice.
yeah, didn't practice. I didn't put the NT on did, so
But
uh, didn't practice Thursday or Friday.
the
Not a
other
good sign for him this week.
the other thing with the Saints, they signed Latavius Murray to the practice squad. So that's that.
Mm,
So they definitely have brought
yeah,
in
because
a
he knows that
reinforcement.
offense well.
Yep. So we will have to
Yeah,
see, but I am not confident in Kamara
yeah,
playing this week,
yeah,
which means
and Ingram.
find your pivot option.
Yeah, Ingram. He had limited reps all week. Has a better chance of starting over Kamara, but I don't know. He might be a streaming candidate this week.
Yeah.
But also, with how Taysom Hill was used last week, do
Ooh,
you
this
think he could take over the passing work from Kamara?
no, I think more carries rather than getting
Yeah.
receiving work.
Okay.
Honestly,
So take
because I think they may take Kamara's targets and give him the Thomas Olave and Jarvis
that's
Landry.
true. That's true. But I think Taysom Hill is also an interesting start this week at tight end.
Yeah, could be a very interesting start.
I love, I I love him. He's awesome. Like with how he's been used in this New Orleans offense, I think he's a wild card anytime he's in.
Yeah,
It's so
I
cool.
legit might pick him up this week for
Yeah,
sure.
he's cool. Like I love seeing how they use him. Also listed as questionable, Jameis Winston. So he had back issues. He was taken out of the game. Well, not taken out of the game. Sorry. He went into the blue tent during the Falcons game. So he didn't miss any time. But during a drive by the Falcons, he was taken into the blue tent. And he was having some issues with his back this week. So he was limited participation most of this week. Um, I mean, he ended up coming back after he went to the blue tent during the Falcons game. He came back out and threw 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he'll be missing any time. They're probably just trying to rest him
Yeah,
so
it's
he's ready
probably just
for
precaution at
Sunday.
this point.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all I've got for New Orleans. New York Giants. Kadarius Toney and Wandale Robinson. Kadarius Toney, he was limited Thursday and Friday, listed as questionable. Wandale is out.
Yeah,
He was officially ruled out.
yeah. Wandale is going to be
So,
out for a bit, but
yeah.
Kadarius
Yeah, I
Toney,
don't have a timeline on
yeah, Kadarius Toney on injury report may explain what happened to him last week, but basically, deep flex consideration, Richie James does become interesting, but I think more often than not, this entrenches Sterling Shepard as wide receiver one,
for sure. For sure. And actually,
and maybe the ghost of
we
Kenny
can talk
Galladay.
about this later, maybe after the podcast. But there's Sterling Shepard is on the bench in one of my leagues. So he may be an option I could pick up. Yeah, he's on the bench. He's on the bench. So that's it for the Giants. Steelers. Najee Harris had a scare last week.
Yeah.
During the game, he was taken out because they didn't want to, they didn't want to injure him any more than what he was. Avoided a bad injury. So they took him out of the game. They ran tests on him Monday. And the reports after the game, they were saying he was out multiple weeks. Once tests were done, they found out he's apparently just fine. And
Yeah, he'll be good. I
yeah,
believe he was taken off the injury report entirely, so he will be playing
yeah,
on Sunday. I did see though, the split, the snap count split between him and
mhm,
Jalen Warren was like 70-30.
yeah,
I would assume it'd be something similar, or depending on how the game goes, it could be up a little bit.
yeah.
So, I I think we're okay with Najee.
Yeah, we're okay with Najee. I think if anything, they'll take the gas off of him a little bit and substitute in Warren a little more, just to give him a little more
It
time to heal up that
Yeah, and it
foot.
definitely
So
depends on how the game went.
yeah.
It was
Oh yeah,
it was a
for sure.
gladiator battle last week for
Yeah,
them.
yeah. And if it, I don't know who they're matched up against this week.
New
Do you
England.
know? Do you know what the matchup is? New England.
Yep.
Okay. I don't see them having a difficult time against New
Yeah.
England. So he's probably gonna be fine. Okay, so the Niners. George Kittle last week was out as a scratch right before the game. He got limited practice on Friday. He's considered a game time decision again this week. But from what I'm hearing from the organization and from Kittle himself, he's very confident that he's he'll play this week.
While I'm happy that
So I
he's
don't know what that
confident,
means.
I am not confident in his fantasy output, so it may
Yeah,
be another don't start him, honestly. And
yeah,
the other thing, this is Seattle. It's going to be a tough game.
yeah. It will be a tough game. Um, he could end up playing, but I don't know. That's another game time decision. You just gotta
Yeah, you just got to wait
keep
and
up with the
see, but I would say
notifications and all of that.
prepare for another
It's a wait
pivot
and see.
option.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
all I've got for the
well,
Niners.
actually,
The
so,
Niners are.
well, we got one more on the
Oh, what do you
Niners.
have?
Elijah
Go ahead.
Mitchell out for 2 months.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, so
oh my
that
gosh.
means
Why didn't I?
basically
Yeah, he's out for 8 weeks.
Jordan Mason's one to look at. On top of that,
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson is a must right now.
Yeah.
Like pick him up, um, just because he's always kind of just been the guy that Shanahan trusts. So I would
Yeah.
it'll probably be Jeff Wilson, Jordan Mason, then probably Tyrion Davis Price at that point. But yeah, definitely definitely stash Elijah Mitchell on your IR. Do not drop him because he's still
Yeah.
going to be the top guy for. He's still going to be the top guy basically once he gets back.
Yeah.
But that is something to look to. If you choose to not play the running back room in San Francisco, I don't blame you. But if you
Yeah. It's shaky.
yeah, but if you want to get
Shaky.
hurt again, go go for Jeff Wilson,
Go ahead. Go ahead with the Shanahanigans.
the Shanahanigans.
Yeah. So the Niners, that's about it. Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks,
Yes,
maybe making his debut
actually,
this week.
I can,
He ended the week with a full participation on Friday.
we can
So
I can confirm he's playing because he was taken off the injury report yesterday or today. So
okay,
he's for sure
okay,
playing. That does make the
good.
split between him and
And
Rashad Penny very interesting.
Yeah,
So that's something to monitor this
yeah.
week.
It is something to monitor. Those of you who have Penny, it was expected.
Yeah,
It was expected.
this
So don't be shocked when Penny's production goes down.
yeah, but I will say this also makes Penny probably more more available in more games. So I'm kind of welcoming it that he's just not this bell cow guy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here, especially I kind of have to throw away last week's game a little bit because it was such an
Mhm.
emotionally charged game that there was some. I'm pretty sure there was some extra stuff involved in there.
Yep.
So I think we'll get a first like true observation from them this week.
For sure. And I think, we're going to really find out what that split's going to look like
Yep.
between those two and whether or not, they start implementing more of Kenneth Walker over time. He was a big draft pick that they had this year, and they spent it on somebody who could really take over that backfield. So I expect a lot of good things from him, but with Penny still on the roster, I think it's going to be a Javonte Williams
Yeah,
and Melvin Gordon type role split.
also known
So
as Melvante.
Melvante, yes. So just keep an eye on him. If you have Kenneth Walker, stash him. Stash
Yes,
him.
yes.
Keep him. Don't start him yet. Don't start him yet. But keep him on your bench. He might end up being pretty good. Like, put if you have him, put him on your taxi squad. Or well, I mean, you can't really put him on your taxi squad anymore. But
yeah, we'll
still,
take him off your IR.
Take him off your IR. Yeah. So that's what we've got for the Seahawks. Now on to the piece de resistance. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Oh,
what is going on?
Yeah, getting fancy on me, Ryan. I like to see that.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is
gosh.
Yeah. All right,
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to do something real quick.
Yeah,
I want to do something. I want to list out the wide receivers who are questionable.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me whether they're starters or not.
Okay.
Or the people on this roster who are questionable.
Okay.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, he's a starter.
Russell Gage.
Yeah, starter.
Julio Jones.
Starter.
Leonard Fournette.
Starter.
Rashad Perryman.
Kind of important.
Backup.
Yeah, he's a backup, but kind of important.
And then on top of all of that, Chris Godwin has been ruled out.
Oh,
he's officially out this week.
He's a starter.
Is it week 2 panic time for the Bucs, or is this just what's going on?
Well, I was already kind of nervous because it's New Orleans and Tom Brady has never beaten a New Orleans team while he's been with the Bucs. I think Evans will play. We already know Godwin is out. I'm pretty sure Julio and Gage will play. I believe they were limited participants as well. Fournette is a scary one because I noticed that, and I was like, wow. Now I was mentioning it to you in the preview. I was like, Rachaad White's getting a lot of reps at the moment, so that kind of confirmed what I was seeing. Yeah. But I think he'll be okay. But I think Rachaad White looked pretty good. I don't think he'll be of significance unless Fournette's out. The other one I want to add on the Bucs, starting left tackle. Donovan Smith was a DNP on Friday.
And Tristan Wirfs?
Yes.
He was
I think he's eliminated. Yeah, I think he's eliminated. So I'm pretty sure
he's listed as questionable. But yeah. All of them had limited practices on Friday. So except for Chris Godwin. All of the guys that I listed had limited practices. So more than likely they're not going to be in danger of missing much time or any time at all. But it's a big question mark, and that's concerning.
It's a big question mark. It scares me, but I mean, most likely, if you're an Evans owner, I would consider not starting Evans just because he's never really done that well against Marshawn Lattimore. Yeah. But on top of that, I say let's just kind of wade through all the injuries and see who's playing. Evans is probably playing. Julio, Russell Gage probably playing. Yeah. I mean, Godwin, at least we already know, is out. And I think they're going to be extra cautious with him. The knee was good. At least it was nothing with the knee. But it's just a hamstring. Then Fournette, I'm pretty sure, is playing. The O-line, you do have to check. But, yeah.
Wirfs is probably going to be going to be playing.
Yeah, worse will
He
probably. Yeah,
was just a limited participation for a couple of days this week.
Yeah.
He's more than likely going to be playing.
Worse will probably play. Donovan Smith, I don't think will play. That's not good.
He's out. I think he's doubtful, so I don't think that he's going to be playing. But I wouldn't hit the panic button on the Bucks.
Not yet.
I think they're not in danger of missing time. The only one that I'd be concerned about is Leonard Fournette, and if you're really concerned, pick up Rachaad White.
Exactly.
That's
because I think Rachaad White is nearing like Alexander Madison to where it's like, okay, you know the offense can work with him too.
Yes.
And he is the clear 2 over Keyshawn Vaughn, so I would completely disregard Keyshawn Vaughn right now.
Yeah, don't worry about Keyshawn Vaughn. He's not really relevant.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got for injuries.
I
think we're done.
Yeah, I think
so
so
this
too.
This is week 2 injuries. Again, check for a lot of these players that we said are like game time decisions. Check 90 minutes before the game. They are required to send out a list of the players who are not going to be a part of that game. So definitely be checking.
Another big thing I would like to bring up, because
go ahead.
We didn't do this last week, and I should have reminded myself. Check the weather.
Yeah. Check the weather.
Yeah, because that's another pivot option for sure, especially like, for example, like any San Francisco 49er or Chicago Bears player last week. We said not to panic because it was a monsoon, but if you had pivot options that you knew beforehand, you probably should have pivoted. Now, unfortunately, I was in a situation where I couldn't, so I kind of had to eat it. But if you have that flexibility, go make that flexibility.
Do it. Yeah, and definitely just keep that on your radar. Just check it Sunday. Like, don't worry about it during the week. Check it Sunday morning before the games start. And also, like I was saying before, check those injury reports on Sunday morning right before the games.
Yep.
To see who's in and who's out. That's it for our news and injuries podcast here at Last Place Fantasy Podcast. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Last Place FP. Check us out. We're pretty darn good. So, yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you with our week 2 review.
We will see you on Monday.